According to the thing, we're live now. It's time to do my show. Hi guys, how you doing? Just screwing around over here. How are you guys doing today? I'm okay. I actually had a pretty good day. And then I slept all right, not great, but all right. And yeah, I'm in a good mood, and we're here to make fun of stupid people because that's what I like to do. And boy, do we have a lot of that tonight. Oh my goodness. Um, Do I have any stories to tell before we get into it? I'm just trying to get past the ads they force you guys to watch before we get into anything meaningful. Hope everybody had a great day. I don't know how it was where you guys were. Okay, I do have a story. So we go out and we had to do some stuff out in town, and then we decided to stop and get something for dinner. And as we're at the place to get something for dinner, I hear this lady talking on her phone way too loud in a restaurant saying, "Yeah, it's really warm outside. It looks cold, but once you get out in it, it's really warm." And I had just been outside, and the 65-degree weather, I was like, "That's not really warm. That's fucking cold." And then I looked at her like, "Oh, she's got some extra insulation. Maybe that's why she's warm at 65." You should not be warm at 65. It's the skin temperature 70. So if it's 65, then it's cold to you. Anyway, that's the people in Michigan, man. It gets to be 50 and they're like, "Man, it's getting kind of hot out here." And meanwhile, their nipples are clearly hard, but they're like, "It's really hot." I hate fucking Michigan. Anyway, we are here to talk about a few different things today. We'll get to the thumbnail in a little while because that one's going to take us a bit. That one's going to take us just a little bit. Before we get to that, we have to talk about Harvard University. And you might be like, "Do we have to?" And yes, we have to. So there's a teacher out there. Her name is Francesca Gino. I think I'm saying maybe it's Gyno. It's a female professor at Harvard, so it's probably Gyno. But she's been let go of her position. First, she lost her tenure, and then she was fired for plagiarism. She's Hey, I want to bring up a picture of Harvard so we have something to look at as we talk. There we go. Um, she's fired for plagiarism, and that's not even the best part of this story. The best part of this story is that she got fired for plagiarism while doing studies on honesty and ethics. She not only plagiarism, but also skewing the data to better support her findings. She's she's the ethics professor. She's the Oh my god. This is Harvard these days though. This is fucking Harvard. These are the people who apparently all of their academics are just stealing other people's work. The incoming students who should be among the nation's top students can't do fucking algebra. And now their honesty and ethics professor is fired for skewing data and plagiarism. What the fuck is going on at Harvard, man? I wonder how the parents who actually pay, their kids tuition there, how many of them are like, maybe we should send them to a state school instead? I don't get it. Oh, and why do these people always think they're going to get away with their plagiarism, especially at Harvard right now? After the big scandal with the president of Harvard that ended up having to step down because she was a plagiarist little shit. Wouldn't you be on your best behavior? But we do see the problem with academia and especially with studies that I have a study that proves this. This woman was skewing her data. And not all data has gone through or poured over the way that it is being done at like Harvard right now. Most peer review is just somebody going, "Yeah, that looks like somebody wrote something. It's reviewed." Unless it's some massively controversial thing like cold fusion. most of the studies that come down, nobody pays any attention to until some fucking idiot on the internet's like, I found a study that backs up what I said. And then they don't even fucking read the thing. One professor has been fired, so the whole institution is bad. Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't give any other examples about it. No. You caught me. Way to be on the ball on that one. Comrade Kitty, thank you. Hey, Timmy, instead of Yale, how about a trade school, right? Oh, these fucking institutions are just corrupt as shit. This is what Harvard, this is what happens when you purposefully and racistly keep out the Asian kids. They can't do research or math. Good job. It's just honestly, I would tell my kid, look, I know it sounds good to say you went to Harvard, but nobody believes that anymore. This isn't the 80s, this is the 2020s, and Harvard's a joke. I'm still pissed off that the majority of their, or was it the majority? It was like 50%, right? Of the incoming students couldn't do fucking basic algebra at Harvard. Anyway, Michelle Obama is here to talk to us. And I listen to everything this guy says because I am a good person. She's here to talk to us about reproduction. Kind of.
So many men have no idea about what women go through, right?
How much do you know about what men go? So many men don't know about what women go through. How much do you know about what I go through? Huh? Oh, and I get it. You really like Harvard. Good luck with your McJob. I'm so tired of this nonsense about you have to understand the female experience or anybody else's experience. You don't understand what I go through. It's the politics of empathy. Like, you just don't understand. Okay, come be me. Go ahead. Let's see. But it's always about you don't understand what women go through. You're just a man. It gets worse. Let's let her talk.
We haven't been researched, we haven't been considered, and it affects the way a lot of male lawmakers, a lot of male politicians, a lot of male religious leaders think about the issue of choice.
See, this is what it's about. It's about being able to kill your baby. It's not about whether or not men actually understand fallopian tubes, right? No. You just don't like me killing babies, so you clearly don't understand women's bodies. Sure, sweetie. We're smart enough to understand how to not get pregnant. Don't fuck, or if you do, use birth control. Look at that. Choice. But you ever notice the only time they talk about choice is killing a baby? That's the only choice they actually care about. They never preach anything other than the necessity to kill a child. That's the whole choice. You should be allowed to kill the baby. No, first of all, because the baby didn't do anything wrong. But how come when they're talking about choice, it's never like, you should be able to raise your family? The only time they get into the raise your family part is, they won't let us abort babies, but then if we have babies, they won't pay for my decision. It's so fucking retarded, man. Oh, anyway.
As if it's just about the fetus, the baby, but women's reproductive health.
Evolved, you're fighting a losing battle there. We've been over the problems with peer review in much deeper settings than this. Some of the things that have been pushed through and published in peer-reviewed journals is astounding. But no, it's totally a rigorous process.
Is about our life. It's about this whole complicated reproductive system that does the least of what it does is produce life.
The least of what the reproductive system does is produce life. Oh, goddamn. The least of what my car does is drive. This is a woman people actually listen to. Okay, alleged woman. She's an intellectual. There's people who want this woman to be president of the United States. And she just said the least of what the reproductive system does is produce life. Now, she goes on to tell us that the system has to be working properly in order to make life, which is a funny argument to make when your overall point is we should be able to kill babies. Here, let's listen to her.
It's a very important thing that it does. But you only produce life if the machine that's producing it, if you want to, whittle us down to a machine, if the machine is functioning in a healthy, streamlined kind of way.
What does that have to do with the choice to kill your baby? See how she did that so subtly? Men don't understand the women's body. And that's why lawmakers and doctors and religious leaders, for some reason, comes up in there, don't understand choice. You see, you have to have the machine running well in order to make a baby, in order to kill it. That's what she's really saying. We have to have the most efficient machine to make babies we want to kill. Oh my God, I hate these people. Now, I haven't seen the whole episode, but my guess is that this is about the funding pulled from Planned Parenthood, because they love to tell us how Planned Parenthood does more than kill babies. How come when abortion funding goes away, they have to shut down? Are they just not making, are there not enough titties out there for them to be making money on mammograms? There's not enough vaginas out there for them to be making money off of pap smears? No. It's all got to be killing the baby. And if we can't kill the baby, all of this other important shit Planned Parenthood, I'm told, does, has to go away, because apparently it's all funded by the dead babies. No, Frank, how dare you say that? They don't like killing babies. Fuck right off with that nonsense. The only thing Planned Parenthood likes more than killing babies is killing black babies. Do the research. They have pretty much cut the black population in half with their abortion shit. The black population right now, without abortion being legal in America, would be at least double. Look it up. All right. That's enough of her. What is next up? Oh God. Michael Steele. Oh, Michael. I was actually hoping Jack would be here by this time, because I know this one would really, really get him. So Michael Steele over there on MSNBC, he's one of the, this is from their stupid little show. Who did they replace? I forget. God, what's her name? Joy Reid. And they bring in Michael Steele and the bald lady. I see the white lady's not on the screen, so I don't know what they did with her. She's probably somewhere self-flagellating. But they're talking about Garcia, the little guy down there in his home country. We'll get to that in a minute. But this Michael Steele, former head of the RNC, who works for MSNBC. I don't know how that math even occurs, but here.
Could you explain or maybe express how
he's talking to Glenn Ivey here, who is a member of the House who went down to oh shit, fuck. My mind just blanked on the country. He goes down to El Salvador. There you go. He goes down to try to see Abuego Garcia, however you say it. Garcia. I'm just calling him Garcia. Pick a last name. I tell this to white people all the time. Pick one last name. Tries to go down to see Garcia, and they told him no. And so now he's coming on to MSNBC to whine about how they didn't let him go in. Well, it's not our prison, homie. It's theirs. Crowder showed people. Sorry. But thank you, John. Crowder showed PPH has to run 5 tests to do an abortion. What 5 tests would they have to do to run an abortion? I believe you, but I figured they'd have to do a pregnancy test and that would be it. Yeah, oh yeah, I know what PPH is, Planned Parenthood. I got you on that.
Could you explain or maybe express how is this different? Because I've been thinking about this case in particular, but some of the others that are very similarly situated. How is this different from when Putin grabs a journalist? Or
how is this different than when Putin grabs a journalist? Oh, yep. Garcia was just in the country reporting on things that were going on. He had his press pass. Oh, Garcia wasn't kicked out because he was criticizing the government. Don't worry, it'll get better.
Or some, rogue group in the Middle East grabs an American, and we're sitting
snatching up Garcia and sending him back to his home country is just like Hamas taking terrorists, or taking hostages in Israel during a peace festival. He didn't have the balls to say that part, though, right? Terrorists taking Americans. You know, which ones, homie? You want to talk? But how is this any different? If you have to ask the question, how is sending this illegal alien back to his home country any different than Putin snatching up reporters or terrorists taking hostages? You are too stupid to be in this conversation because the answer won't penetrate your head. But this is my favorite part.
Here fighting to try to get them back. Our own government did this.
Mm-hmm.
Our own government snatched him up and put him in harm's way and now refuses to do what it must do and should do to get him back home.
Our government is refusing to do what it needs to do to get this guy from his home country back home. Back home. We literally sent him back home. He is in his home country. This is not one of the cases where the guy is from Chile or something and we sent him to the prison down there in El Salvador. He's from there. That's his goddamn house. It's where he belongs. But this is what they're telling their audience. Like, oh, okay, they're not getting him back home. They literally sent him home. And the only thing that they can say about this guy is that a judge put a halt on his deportation order. He had a deportation order. It was just on hold because the rival gangs might kill him. He wasn't a gang member. He was like one of those 80s movies where a guy comes back to town and it's been taken over by the gang, so the gang is rivaling just him. He wasn't in a gang. No. He had rival gangs all by his little lonesome. They were rivaling just him. But he was supposed to be deported. He should have been deported. And we deported him. And now this little motherfucker, we got to get him back home. As George W. Bush once said, mission accomplished. What's up, Jack?
How's it going?
Not too bad. Did you see this clip?
I believe I did. Is this them talking about wanting to repatriate somebody that already is home?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
This is Michael Steele saying the United States government is not doing what it should to get Garcia back home where he is right now.
He's an El Salvadorian citizen. So, sorry, Michael. You dummy.
I saw this and I saw, hey, there's a clip from these people. And I watch a lot of clips, Jack, just to see what they're about. Because I can't be bothered to read all the text with it.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening to this. I'm like, oh, they're whining about Garcia. And he gets to that line about they're not doing what they need to get him back home. And I did an actual double take.
Wasn't Michael Steele head of the RNC for a while?
Yes, he was. Yes.
Yeah, that tells all you need to know about those rhino traitors.
This is among the dumbest things ever said on television.
Oh, fuck yeah. Ranks up there for sure. Hi, everybody.
They're not doing what you're supposed to do to get him back home. He's home. He doesn't belong here. He's not an American citizen. And the best you guys can do is they didn't pay attention to the order to not send him back to the gangs. Fuck that guy.
Right.
He's in harm's way. He is probably safer in that jail than he would be in one of ours. Because they don't play around. You see those inmates in there, Jack?
Oh, yeah.
Stacked 30 high. They're all on their best fucking behavior.
Yeah, that is probably one of the scariest prisons in the world if you're an inmate. Because those guards, they are... There's a lot of guards there, and they do not look like they're in the mood to mess around.
They're not putting up with any bullshit. And they did this because of the massive gang problems they were having down in El Salvador.
Yeah, they used to be like the murder capital of the world for a while. And corruption capital too, but they cleaned all that up, and it's actually an incredibly safe country now.
Yep.
They're like the top 5, I think, still.
Yeah, people are afraid to be accused of being in a gang down there right now.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, it's probably the only way they could have dealt with it was to build one of those giant super prisons. I personally would have gone with a supermax, but they probably didn't have the resources for that, or the CIA didn't have the resources to build that. So, but it's actually it's not the only prison on that site. They have a maximum security jail, and then that thing on the same complex. It's not like that's the only jail they've got. They've got other jails.
These little shitbags can go back to their homes, and I'm tired of hearing Americans tell me about how we need to house illegals. No, fuck them, get them out.
Yeah,
and especially in this case where we literally sent him back home, and they're like, he needs to come home. Fuck you.
Why do we have to pay for the entire world? Because a couple of lefties feel like, oh, we're too rich, or I'm sad that other people are poor. Yeah, life's tough all over. I'm sorry that you weren't born in Buttholistan, but if you want to live there, go for it. They don't get to come here for free. They don't get to break our rules, wander in, and just claim free stuff. I'm tired of that. That guy was here for a long time.
Yep.
He was a human trafficker that worked for a gang and beat his wife.
Only twice that we've been able to find out after they told us never.
Yeah, they said never. Then it turns out there's paperwork on it. And he claimed political asylum because he was afraid of a rival gang. Come on. Fuck off with this hippie bullshit. The delusion that these people are under, because it's NIMBY. They don't have to deal with these criminals. The rest of us do. They live in gated communities. You think Michael Steele's out living in the suburbs? Not likely. Not unless it's a gated suburb.
And this is why Democrats, to their minimal credit, why they were so opposed to Abbott and DeSantis busing people to different cities in the U.S.
Yeah.
Because they knew if you put all of these illegals who were mostly concentrated, south of the Mason-Dixon line, up north where people had to deal with it, where you have all this bullshit, you need to be so... It is amazing how anti-illegal immigrant Michigan has become.
Yeah.
Where we're
well,
like, no.
Look at what Martha's Vineyard did. They got rid of the illegals within a day.
Yep.
It wasn't even a full 24 hours those people were there.
Some of the richest people in the entire country actually made the argument, we don't have the resources to take care of them. The media repeated it, and Democratic voters went, That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Nobody knows how, but it does.
You have people living in mansions that could house entire small countries. Like, we don't have room for them here. And these are their play homes.
Yeah. No, we need to send them to the pores.
Yeah, they weren't going, hey, set them up in a 5-star hotel here in Martha's Vineyard. Thank you, FL. If Hollywood was smart, they would see all this going on and start rebooting the Dirty Harry movies. Oh, you can't make a movie like Dirty Harry anymore.
Oh God, no! Especially that opening scene where he first gets a partner and he starts dropping racial slurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene alone would get a reboot nixed, or the worst, they'd reboot it and it'd be some soy boy lefty.
For me, I hear what you're saying because they could clean up the language. Excuse me, but the idea of extrajudicial killings by cops, doesn't matter how bad the guy is.
Yeah, no, they'd turn him into like an eco activist that kills like CEOs of bad companies or some stupid bullshit like that.
All right, so now to the main show, and I'm sorry, guys, this is a video, and we are on my landlocked AT&T internet because it's storming outside right now. So the video will be choppy, but as always, the audio should be fine, which is what we're really here for. I came across this from Libs of TikTok, and in fairness to the people on the screen, the chick from Libs of TikTok only watched a little portion of this. I'm guessing somebody sent it to her because she doesn't really usually find her own stuff.
Yeah.
And it is slightly taken out of context what she shows. But I went and found the original and I watched a good portion of it, and dear fucking God. So let's hang on. Let's
Olivia.
there we go. Get his fade in done.
That voice is already.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna tell you right now. This is so soyful.
Is that a dude on the left or a chick?
That is a chick on the left, and what
Well,
passes
I
as
recognize Wesley Crusher looking motherfucker over there. That soy noodle type.
I've never seen him before. He's got a small YouTube channel that's growing. Good for him. He had a moderately successful for a start out kind of person with a why I left the left kind of video. And I watched part of it, and he left the left because he realized socialism can't really be defined by the socialists, which he was at the time. And he realized how stupid socialism is.
Oh, give him credit for that, I guess.
Except for he even gets that wrong, because in his understanding of socialism, if you started a lemonade stand that was doing well and you wanted, this is his example, not mine, and you wanted to open another lemonade stand, and you'd have to hire somebody, but under socialism, you couldn't. You'd have to sell that person half. I'm like, you think they got to sell it? No, as soon as you get a new employee, they just get half. You didn't sell it to them. You didn't get any money back for that shit. What are you talking about? But that was his understanding of socialism is when you hire an employee, basically they buy you out for half of your shit. Like, no. We're talking about communism light. They just steal it. They just take it. It's theirs now.
Yeah, it's a seizing of the means of production, not paying for the means of production.
So like so many others, he makes his why I left the left kind of video, gets a little bit of traction from it, but he's still lefty. And he brought on this chick, Olivia Juliana, who I was unfamiliar with before this, but she's going to tell us she's got 100,000 people reading her on Substack, Jack.
That's Substack?
Yep.
Right.
She is
That's a thing.
She's a Substack hero, and good for her. But they're about to say some really stupid shit.
Of course they are. They're lefties. I mean, just looking at these people, I can tell you they're going to say something stupid. She looks like Gorthak the Destroyer, and he looks like Wesley Crusher. I have very low minimal expectations, and it's going to be incredibly dumb.
Well, I do want to preface this by saying a lot of their dumbness is going to come from how young they are.
Well, what makes me sad too is of the two, the one that's going to smell like nasty girl crotch is going to be him.
Yeah. And not because he's been around any.
No, it's just because that's his natural effervescence is something you want to get rid of with pH balance.
How dare you talk about this gentleman who's gonna tell us how Democrats can win back young men?
Oh God, are you fucking kidding me?
No, that's the subject of this.
I got out of bed for this.
Yes, sir.
Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Come on. Dear God. She at least looks like she smells like old French fries.
Yeah. I don't know who Owen is, but he's new around here, and he really doesn't like me, Jack. I wonder if I forgot to tip his mom one day. She said tips are optional.
Well, you did say just the tip.
Anyway,
hey, real quick. Thank you, Keldrick. The guy on the left looks like the guy on the right shoved a hose up his ass and let the water fill him up until he looked like a water balloon.
Wow. I mean, I honestly don't care about how she looks. If this was a fat acceptance video, then sure. I'm interested in the stupid. And do I want to give this part away?
Dude, look at that. They look like Bert and Ernie, like smug on the left and like yay on the right.
They do kind of have a Bert and Ernie feel going on to them.
Yeah, but not cool Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street, but like these like Temu versions of them. Yeah, what'd you do to piss this Owen guy off? He's
I don't know. I'm telling you, man.
Free time to type.
His mom's like, "Go yell at Monkey." All I got was the shaft.
Writes a Substack, which probably, statistically speaking, like 89% of y'all read already. But Olivia, I want you to talk about that Substack, and I also want you to talk about one of the newer articles that you wrote about why men drifted right in the previous election. I consider myself a resident expert on this because I am a man, so I feel like we
debatable.
Yeah, let's not get carried away, kid. You're like 12, and you have less testosterone than I have in my fingernail right now, all right? Come on.
I want to be nice to them because, again, they're clearly younger people, but fuck right off.
Yeah, I'm an expert. I consider myself an expert because I am a man. Oh, shit. That was the gayest sounding thing. I've heard gay men say that with more masculinity, probably while they had a dick in their mouth. Jesus Christ.
Why are you listening to gay men when they have dicks in their mouths?
Well, you'd be amazed what you find on the internet. Haven't you ever been on Omegle?
No. The only thing I know about that is every so often I'll watch a Turkey Tom video and it'll feature one of the people he's talking about when they were on that site. And nothing good is ever in that segment of his video.
There's that funny bald guy with the mustache that looks kind of creepy, where he basically just messes with teenagers all the time, scares them. I find those hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, that site, if you want to see a lot of wiener, go on that site and try and make friends. All right.
There has never been a point in my life where I was like, I want to see a lot of wiener.
Right? Me either. But every now and then, you're inadvertently forced to look at some douchebag dick. And
there's never been a moment where I said, I want to see a wiener. I don't even want to see mine.
I like to check in on mine. Make sure he's doing okay.
Conversation on the conclusions you reach in that article.
Yeah, so my Substack it's called A New Perspective, oliviajuliana.substack.com, and we're actually very close to hitting.
I'm going to have to go over there and read that because I have a feeling that her new perspective is quite old.
It's going to be a new perspective to her, so she just invented it. It's the greatest thing ever.
And again, I haven't read it, so maybe she's breaking ground. I'm just doubting that, though. Stop it.
The one on the left is the body used by Craig from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Perspective,
nice.
oliviajuliana.substack.com, and we're actually very close to hitting 100,000 subscribers on Substack. I'm very excited. But
I would be too if they're actual subscribers for money. I'm missing a market here, Jack. I need to go right on Substack. Stupid communist shit, and I could become a very rich capitalist.
Apparently.
I write a lot about politics, and I hate that all these newsletters are the same. There's so many Substacks that you get on, and they're all telling you the same stuff. I don't want to do that. I want to give you a new perspective on the political.
All right, Jack. She's convinced me. I got to go over to Substack real fast.
Oh, okay.
Substack. What's her name? Olivia
Juliana.
Juliana.
That, you know, in the small picture, when you're because I was looking at chat for a second there, that smaller picture, that photograph behind her over her shoulder, I thought was Pat's avatar for a minute. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh no, that's some random person.
Texas Democrat strategist and Gen Z firebrand. She wrote that herself. Can you call yourself a firebrand?
I have never seen anybody who wasn't a labeled firebrand not name it themselves. It's like giving yourself a nickname like Ace or something. You don't give yourself a nickname. Other people do it. This firebrand. I've never heard anybody. Yeah, that's all in their publicity material. Nobody's ever been named a firebrand. They just call themselves a firebrand.
Logical Male, thank you. I'm sure they did not watch Shoe on Head. No clue if they did or not. Let's see. Texas Republican Civil War heats up. Olivia Giuliani asks congressional Democrats about the way forward, and then you have to log in to get more. And then she has one called A New Perspective. This seems, if I'm going to be honest here, yeah, she has 98,000 subscribers over here. It seems a little astroturfed, if I'm being honest.
Seems a little.
Yeah.
Can
you say Soros boys and girls?
Right.
No, I'm totally organic growth.
P-Dog's in Spain, buddy.
P-Dog, what are you doing in Spain, bro?
Are you trying to pick me up some Spanish chicks? Because they're a handful. I don't need that kind of stress. Appreciate the thought though that I just came up with and placed in your head.
There you go.
Issues that are going on, and so I keep seeing people talk about young men in the 2020 cycle or in the 2024 cycle, and they keep saying like, "Well, it's because." Like they're not getting laid enough.
What?
Who said that?
I can tell you where this came from. The phrase young men and the implied sexual encounters. YMCA, buddy.
Oh, you're right. It's the village people. They cause this problem.
Yeah, she was watching a Trump speech. She kind of started listening to YMCA. And then just like, obviously, men just aren't having enough sex.
I have not heard that argument at all, especially as it relates to why men voted for Trump rather than Harris.
Yeah. Oh, is she going to call us all incels now?
No, it doesn't.
I'm kind of old, and I've touched like vagina a couple times now.
This is where I had a problem with how Libs of TikTok put this out, is that she kind of makes it sound like that's what they're doing here is blaming that on, and that's not it. It's not. They actually fight against that notion, kind of.
And they feel judged, and
judged.
or alternatively, well, they're just racist and they hate women. So like it's really, I see these takes coming out from both sides.
That's a lot going on. I can't be racist and hate women. Do you know how much work that would take?
Yeah, I'm way too lazy to put that much thought into hating people.
Yeah, especially if you're like a keyboard warrior, lazy incel who plays video games all the time and lives in your mom's basement like they're always accusing us of being. Are you going to play Call of Duty, or are you going to sit around hating women and being racist? Do you know how much effort that takes?
Understand what she's doing right now. This isn't her saying this. She's saying this is what she's reading on Substack, or apparently from Republicans too, which sure. So this is her saying, this is why I wrote it, is because everybody else is getting it wrong. Which, if they're saying what she said here, yeah, they're mostly getting it wrong.
Yeah.
The real reason that men broke for Trump and are moving more right is because the left is so gynocentric that they've literally made men an enemy.
Yeah.
And they use the language of it all the time. Straight white male is not said as a term of endearment. It's a slander. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Thank you, Frosted. The only reason you talk to the chick on the left is to negotiate it for the return of your friend who was frozen in carbonite. Thank you, Frosted Glass.
All right.
Of the party wing, I would say. And I just think that all of that is wrong. I think all of it is wrong. And so I wrote this piece called The Politics of Getting Laid and Preachy Females. And I really dive into what I actually perceive it to be. And shocker, it's all economic anxiety.
She's going to give us some economic lessons later about what really young men don't actually dislike illegal immigration, Jack. It's just about, it's not about protecting women. No. It's just about, hey, you can't get a job. It's that illegal's fault. She thinks this is new, by the way. I mean, this is shit the left has been saying since my whole life.
Did she miss the South Park episode of They Took Our Job?
Yes.
I mean, that episode is like a decade old now.
It's older than that.
Oh, probably.
That's got to be 2 decades at this point, or real close to it.
Oh, I feel old right now.
What year did that? Old. What year did that one come out? That's God under Bush still, right?
Don't know.
I want to say that was still under there, but anyway.
I think the Democrats have a really bad problem of every time we message to young men, we frame it in a way that is wrapped up in the same principles that we critique. We critique the patriarchy. We critique the way that men have.
I don't know why they're slowly zooming in here. This guy does this a lot where he does zooms for no reason.
You got to get a close up of the double chin, I guess.
Hierarchy and power structures. And then we message to them as if not only is that the reality, but that they have to continue to be like that. So the example I use in the article is the issue of abortion. When we message to young men on abortion, or men in general, we do it from the position of, well, real men protect women. And if you care about the women in your life, you should be pro-choice. And that might be true. That is true.
If I care about the women in my life, I should be pro-choice. So I should tell my daughter and my son that they should have killed my granddaughters, right? Because I care about women.
Now, what if you're pro-women but pro-dead baby too?
You can't be. You got to be pro-choice and love the women so they can kill the little girls. I don't fucking know, man. Logical Male, thank you. The Dems are about culture, never about policy. I disagree with that a lot because they have a bunch of really bad policies they want. The Green New Deal was a policy issue. Anyway.
But we don't come at it from the approach of this is the reality that young men face about that issue. Because
I just love that she can't believe that young men just don't want babies to be killed. It's like, we're just not telling them the right way so that they want to kill the babies. We have to trick them.
We just didn't explain it well enough to the rubes.
Because it's entirely possible that a young woman in college gets pregnant unexpectedly, and that could upend
Really?
Some whore in college gets knocked up. I am the shocked.
I love how she says it like it's a rare thing. It's entirely possible that a woman in college could get unexpectedly pregnant. Like, by all the whoring she's doing? Wear a condom, Jesus. This is what bothers me about abortion, honestly. We are at a point in society where there's no need for abortion. We have the education, we have the means to stop pregnancy, and these fuckers are just out there raw dogging shit. And they're like, I can't believe I got pregnant. You
Yeah,
mean when the
how
dude
hard is it to
splooged
get-
in you?
How hard is it to get free condoms? They're goddamn everywhere.
How do they keep ending up pregnant? It's a medical fucking mystery. Jesus, man.
It's entirely possible that a young woman in college gets pregnant unexpectedly, and that could upend her life if she doesn't have access to abortion care.
I'll give her credit at least for not pretending it has anything to do with the health of the mother, or the child could be born retarded and that would be just too hard for them to deal with. At least she's admitting it's just about convenience for the mother.
Yeah.
Fucking hate when they use the term mother when they're talking about this shit.
But it's also entirely true that the young guy who gets her pregnant, now he's on the hook to not only take care of this child that could be him, that could be coming into the world, but also to take care now of the mother of his child.
She just accidentally explained why abortion is so anti-feminist. It used to be, Jack, both parties would have to be responsible, you know?
Yeah.
And now this is why you read stories from women like, I didn't really want to get an abortion, but he pressured me into it. Hey, young men, you don't want to be on the hook to that dirty whore, do you? You better love abortion. Be abortionist. Just show how much you care about women by abandoning them.
Be pro-choice, so you're not saddled with the burden of paying for a whore.
You empty that cum dumpster. It shouldn't be your responsibility.
Why be mature and grown up?
This is the argument you want to make to young men. Like, hey, that bitch is going to take all your money. Are you an incel, lady?
Starting to sound like one.
Jesus Christ. By the way, this is an argument. You're not breaking new ground here, lady. This shit has been said for a while. I think we need to tell men that this has been an argument on the left for a while.
I think this lady needs to be introduced to Sandman.
You know shit.
And I think that it would be so much easier if we just understood that the problems we're having with young men shifting to the right, it's not because they don't agree with us on the policy. They do agree.
Oh, suddenly we agree with her on policy?
Oh, there's a very good explanation for why she thinks that will come up in a little bit. Do you want me to spoil it now?
No.
Now.
Let's might as well just keep the surprise.
Okay, I'll leave the surprise.
Thanks.
With us on the policy. It's because they feel like we don't understand the struggles they're facing, the actual struggles, not the perceived struggles of the masculinity crisis or whatever it is, the actual struggles.
The masculinity crisis.
Is she talking about the low testosterone of Will Wheaton there?
No. What she's talking about is the fact that toxic masculinity is a thing. If you're too masculine, it's toxic. They never say that about femininity. Toxic femininity, like,
that's not a thing. That's just miraculous.
Yeah, she is downplaying the notion that men don't like being told that our very existence is toxic.
What? But how else will men know that they're toxic if women don't boss us around?
That's not what men care about. The woman's going to tell us that.
Of course she is. Don't they always tell us what to think?
Wait, isn't that the ultimate irony of this segment? You have this woman here telling us what men think. How often does that shit happen? What men really think? Why isn't there a man on your show telling you what men think? Look, I probably disagree with him because he's on your show and you're clearly a beta little lefty. But at least then you'd have some standing.
Look, I think they need to get Andrew on there from whatever and have him tell her what women think. If she's going to tell us what men think, it's only fair.
If you're gonna I'm not kidding about this. There is a moment in this where she points to polling from men and says that's not really what men think. It would be one thing if she actually gave a shit about what we say, paid attention to it, and went, this is what men are telling us. No. She knows what we really think.
They took a poll and a lot of guys said some stuff. Yeah, just ignore that.
Just pay no attention to that. I have vagina. I know all.
Ed, we just kind of want to blame them for all of our problems.
Right. I think there's a lot of that I just fully agree with. I mean, we just don't message to men, right? And I was like we don't message in a way that resonates to men. Like,
so I'm going to have a lady on for the men.
Yeah, to tell us what men think.
As we ignore exactly what they think.
Oh, step aside, you men. Let a woman tell you what to think. It's like when white women tell minorities what they think.
Oh, God. Again, it'd be one thing if you actually paid attention to what is being said to you.
Yeah, why would they do that?
Hang on, I got a donation here. Thank you, Keldrig. She eats masculinity for breakfast. Literally, every morning she consumes the masculinity of a poor, innocent man. And to add to her protective layer of blubber, the victim is converted into a soy boy. Yeah. This is oh God, I can't with this bitch.
No, God.
He's a man, and he's like, tell me about what men think.
Well, he would like to know what he's supposed to think when going undercover as a man. But I just thought of something when I was looking at this Shamu there. And I don't mean to be mean to women. I'm just being mean to fat people. You notice that masculinity did start to decline after we stopped using whale blubber for lighting.
I don't know when that was.
Late 1800s. Because we were using whale blubber for lamp oil, and then they converted it to petroleum. So once we stopped hunting whales, this happened.
All right. Hang on one second, bud.
Just say it's coincidence, maybe, but
I just have a shooting pain in my left shoulder blade.
yeah, I could hear it. What's going on, chat people? Monkey's a bit occupied at the moment. Morning, Alan.
I hate these. It literally takes my breath away. All right. Soy Boy was just about to give his opinion, right?
Yeah.
Where
femcell woman splaining. Yeah, exactly.
like something that you kind of responded to that I've seen a lot is the reason why Republican messaging resonates with men is because men want bad things.
Now, this is the part that a lot of people are responding to. He is not saying this himself. He's saying this is what other people are saying.
Right? It's like men want to have sex and like own women, right? Like they want to dominate everybody. And Republicans say you get to do that. And then Democrats can't say that. So we just lost men. It's over. Right? Like, What are you talking about? Like a lot of times it will be men that are liberals who will like agree with that shit. I'm like, dude, what is going on?
Who is out there saying Republicans are telling young men they can have sex and that's bad?
Oh, no, they can own women.
He says first, though, they can have sex and own women.
Yeah.
And there's liberals who agree with that. You guys don't even understand your own side's argument.
They don't even know what a woman is, for God's sake.
Like there's a lot of men that don't think that way, obviously. And it's just,
I do believe that you're a man who doesn't think you should have sex with women. I just want to get that out there.
Yeah, well, he looks like he sits down to pee.
He looks like he's peeing now.
Yeah, kind of does.
Such a negative view to take on like half of the human race.
Well, I also think it's just so abundantly clear that the people who say these things don't.
The ones that you guys invented in your own heads.
Yeah, them. These guys are saying these things.
Yeah. How do you not even get your own side's argument right? Reducing it to owning women and having sex.
Yeah. Apparently, they think that we live in like 1794 or something.
Actually spend time talking to young men. You know this because we know each other in real life.
Listen.
But I spend a lot of time on college campuses.
You.
I get why you're laughing, but this part is really important.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Because you're right. But listen to what she says here. Because remember, this is the part I almost spoiled a moment ago.
Oh, okay.
Why this makes sense with her knowledge of young men.
You know this because we know each other in real life, but I spend a lot of time on college campuses.
She goes to a bunch of liberal universities and all the men think like her. Weird.
Yeah, it's almost like you go to the brainwashing factory and you find people with brainwashing.
It's like that'd be like a Democratic senator going to a Klan meeting and going, all of the people there agreed with me.
And I spend
He
a lot of time
loves
with
young men.
I love young men. I love frat guys. And in that, I realized like even the ones that identify as conservative are almost always pro-choice. They're almost always pro-gay marriage. You'd be surprised at the number of them who supported Black Lives Matter. It's so
None of that would surprise me about young men on a college campus.
No, especially if a woman asks them.
This is the shit they've been indoctrinated into for years and now are getting a concentrated course on it.
Yeah.
Frosted, thank you. Finally, Rachel Maddow interviewing Chris Chan. Yeah, it kind of does look like that, really.
I feel like people.
Wait, who? I just noticed in the background that there's a black guy with an afro in that picture.
Yeah. See the one up on the left there on the shelf? That's
Yeah.
the one I thought from like I glanced at it looking at the chat's viewer and it looked like Pat's avatar just out of the corner of my eye kind of thing.
Oh, I do see she has a picture of herself with Joseph Biden up here, taken in the White House. Totally organic growth, ladies and gentlemen. Totally organic growth.
Just kind of lump them into this box when the truth is, again, a lot of them are with us on the issues. They're just not part of our coalition because they feel like they're not welcomed in it.
They're not.
Well, two things. One, no. But two, they aren't welcome in your coalition. Because no matter how much they tell you what you want to hear, they still have a penis, and that it automatically makes them the enemy.
Yep. And they're told that repeatedly.
Can you imagine if a politician came out and said this is going to be the year of the man? The Democrats did year of the woman twice. It is all so gynocentric over there to the point where men, we literally are the enemy to them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the only way that you get any kind of credit is if you do something like Tim Walz and go, no, I'm really a woman.
I don't know if he admitted it, but yeah.
Oh, we saw him dance. His
Yeah.
little wave.
Oh, that little way. Oh my God, that was. I'm sure gay guys were cringing on that one.
Talk to, right? And yeah, they're not welcome. That's true. Like there's a lot of times where it's like being like masculine characteristics or seem like they're frowned upon and they're kind of
Seem?
I just the irony of him saying that is just killing me. Because he is right in this point, but Bruh. I'll give you $1 if you can bench press a macaroni noodle.
Welcomed and championed by the Republican Party. And like masculine characteristics are not characteristics that are intrinsically bad, right? And I think that some Democrats have presented it that way. Now, obviously not most Democrats, but
Yeah, dude, most Democrats. What are you talking about?
Obviously not most Democrats. It's the party mantra. Men are bad. We just saw, Jack, before you got on here, we watched the Michelle Obama clip.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We just saw Michelle Obama tell us that the reason that men are against abortion is because we don't understand the female body enough.
Well, they have that sacred system that does so much more than have babies.
Having babies is the least important thing the reproductive system does.
I
That
could
is
not
what
fucking
that
believe
bitch
that.
said.
Yeah. I don't know why people think she's smart. She says dumb shit like that all the time.
Because people make the mistake that if you get famous, even if it's because you're in a gay relationship with another man, that you are somehow more intelligent than they are. Which in reality is not even close to true.
Yeah.
Most famous people are really fucking stupid.
it's like this perception that a lot of guys have had. In terms of issues, like good messaging is messaging that
Wait. Okay, so what he said there is that guys just have the impression that most Democrats don't like men. Where would we get that false impression, Jack?
That is a mystery for the ages. It's almost like they've talked to feminists before or anyone on a college campus.
As a man, my view on abortion, I've literally been told, does not matter because I don't have a uterus.
Well, you
And
should
that
do
has been
like
a
I do.
talking point of the left, again, my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, easily. You should get a uterus. They're pretty cool. You can put them in a jar on display on your coffee table labeled social justice.
How did men come to this false conclusion?
Yeah, where did they get this insane notion that they're not welcome?
And this is why I wanted to highlight this, because one, I mean, that chick is getting a big audience, Jack, repeating stupid shit that's been said many times, but they have no concept of the actual history of the shit they're talking about. I talk to guys on college campuses.
It's
Okay.
amazing how historically illiterate the left is.
Yes. Well, they know you got to keep people dumb to history. Otherwise, you can't have another French Revolution.
Yeah.
If people know the history of what has happened with communism, you can't bring that shit back.
That's true.
Got to lie about it.
resonates with people's actual anxieties and lived experience, right? And so, yeah, like the Whatever podcast can resonate with men that are like incels or like struggling.
I'm not going to suggest that no incels watch the Whatever podcast. But the Whatever podcast resonates with two types of people. Men who are tired of being the villain in everything, and people with a sense of humor. That's it.
Yeah.
The majority of their clips that go viral is funny shit.
Yeah,
And
they're making somebody look stupid.
yeah. That's why it can resonate. Well, no. Why don't you talk about why Joe Rogan resonates with people?
No, they won't do that because he used to be a lefty, big lefty.
Like the Whatever podcast can resonate with men that are like incels or like struggling with women, right? Because a girl was mean to them or whatever, and they're able to project upon like those women which come on and like look really dumb. They're able to say like, yeah, all women are like this. I feel better about myself.
They're really downplaying the emotions of men that have been ruined by the system. You know, guys that were taken advantage of. They're just completely ignoring that. Like, no, somebody was mean to you once. Fuck off. That's really insulting.
Hey, they speak for men. They know the real story, Jack.
Yeah, something. This is actually kind of pissing me off now.
For the record, never been dumped in my life. Not once, Jack.
Yeah, but how many guys that watch the whatever? I guarantee you some of the dudes on that panel are a bit jaded because they've had bad relationships. And I think to minimize that is to alienate men even further, because how often do you see guys getting taken advantage of by the system after their girlfriend walks all over them and treats them like a wallet? I think there is definitely some bitterness because the
Sure.
system is so stacked against men. And he's just totally dismissive of that.
What was that chick's name who did the movie The Red Pill?
Oh, I don't remember.
I want to say it was Cassie something, but I can't remember. She went into that basically with the feeling this idiot just has. And thinking that she was just going to come find these guys who just hate women because they had one bad experience with them. And she came away with it on the side of the red pill, not the current red pill, not the Myron Gaines red pill, not the Andrew Tate red pill, but back when it was just like Cassie J, thank you. Back when it was about, hey, guys are being fucked over. How old is that movie now? That's what, 6, 7, 8 years old now?
It's got to be at least, yeah.
Guys have been getting fucked over in our system longer than you and I have been alive, Jack.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't forget, Dems are condescending. Thank you, Logical Male. That is true.
That is very true.
I can be condescending too, but only when I'm right.
Well, there's
all these other
right.
I am.
And like look really dumb. They're able to say like, yeah, all women are like this. I feel better about myself. But there's all these other things that resonate probably more, which is like, man, shit's expensive, right? Like.
I'm not saying the economy didn't matter to men. But that way, yes, we all have to pay money and shit. And but when you're talking about why men went to the right rather than the left, it wasn't a big, hey, shit's expensive. That was added on top of all of the other shit wrong with the Democratic Party.
Man, I don't feel supported, right? Like, I don't feel like there's anywhere for me to go, right? I feel like if something bad happens to me, no one's there to support me. That's the thing.
He just did the zoom in thing again, and I don't know why.
He sounds like a woman right now.
Thank you. I don't know a single fucking man who's like, I'm voting for Trump because I don't have a good support system.
I don't feel supported. That's called being an adult.
This feministic bullshit. This is the same thing they do with men all the time. You just don't understand men. Like, we need a support structure. You need to let your feelings out. Because that's what men really care. We need to have our feelings.
We don't have a fallback. Yeah, no shit, dumbass. That's life. You don't get a fallback because you're not some pregnant woman. It's fucking stupid. I hate this guy.
That a lot of men deal with because men are a lot of times kind of put in the box of supporting other people. So no one's there to support themselves.
Men are put in a box of supporting other people, Jack. Jesus Christ, man. All right.
And it's like those are things that we can absolutely talk to. Actually, we could probably speak to better than the Republican Party.
Yeah, okay, dude.
You guys aren't feminine enough, and we will show you how to be better. Come over here. How could you have missed the point of 2024 more? Stop treating men like women. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there.
No,
stop treating men like women. Start there and go on. Sorry, go ahead, bud.
I don't think they can see past their paradigm, though. That's the problem, is they are so locked into this mindset. They cannot see outside of it. So they have to put it in the context of their mindset instead of actually listening. They say, okay, well, what you really mean is this.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're saying, I am concerned about these things. Oh, no, that's just code for this. Because you don't feel supported enough.
Yeah, I think speaking to that is also understanding the mentality that they're coming from too. So another example is when you look at the polling of what are the issues that are the most important to young men, one of the top issues consistently is immigration. If you actually talk to a young guy about how he feels about immigration, am I allowed to cuss on this?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They don't.
Not just a poll, Jack. The one that they put on the screen, immigration is top for men there. Consistently polls at the top for men, but they don't actually care about that. This is the person who's telling you how you get men back, Democrats. Seriously, Jack, when I heard that, was another double take. Like, wait, what?
Right?
You put the poll on the screen, for fuck's sake.
But no, that's not what men want. See, they're worried about the. You could see what this exactly amplifies the point I was just trying to make. Okay, men are worried about illegal immigration. Why? Because they have to get jobs to support themselves because there's no fallbacks for men. You're on your own. So, yeah, there is no support system, but not in the way this kid is arguing. He's like, oh my God, I need like a mommy and a daddy to give me free shit. No, men are worried about being able to pay for their home and food and basic shelter. Whereas women are like, I can just go on welfare.
Thank you, Keldrig. Obviously, the soy boy was a victim of land whale's masculinity eating powers.
He's probably hoping he'll get his wiener touched out of this.
They don't give a shit about immigration. It's this idea of scarcity and competition of if you're a young man in America, you are expected to go to college or go to a trade school, get a certification, get a degree. Then you're expected to get a high-paying job. And then once you get your high-paying job, you're expected to find your wife and to buy a house and to have kids and to do all of these things. And if you don't do that, then you're a failure because you are the man and you are the provider. And if you can't provide, then you're not actually a man.
Wait for it.
And so the Republicans specifically, they set this expectation and then they make it almost impossible for young.
Republicans make it impossible for you to go to school, get a job, buy a house. Remember all those housing regulations for new housing that the Republicans put in place?
No, I don't.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah, Democrats did that, but not the Republicans. Also, a lot of that is kind of hardwired into men. They want to provide for their families, and you know what makes that harder? All the goddamn illegal immigrants that work for 50 cents on the dollar undercut you all over the place, do day labor for trained, skilled work.
Thank you, Logical Male. Dems believe they know better than you because they are highly educated at Harvard. Yeah. They can't do algebra, but they're smarter than you.
Yeah. Also, women have unrealistic expectations for men, so it makes it harder to find somebody that's not a complete fucking whack job these days.
Fair enough.
Young men to actually do those things, whether it's through not raising minimum wage, whether it's through the price.
Men are expected to get a high-paying job, but Republicans stop them by not increasing minimum wage.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Oh,
well, again, if there wasn't an oversupply of low-skill workers, maybe that wage would go up on its own.
One, there are very few jobs these days that are paying the federal minimum wage.
Yeah, because, well, a lot of people are lazy and don't want to work. And the others are on the dole, so they don't need to work because they're getting free shit from the government. And then you've got all the illegals that you have to compete with. And then you have all the regulations that keep new companies from forming, and you have all the fees associated with that. Oh, you need an EPA study before you can build that factory. Oh, you got to give the government money. Oh, you got to file your building plans. Oh, you got to get work permits. You got to get all this other shit. It all nickels and dimes you. So yeah, that's disincentivizing employers from hiring new people. This is a much more complicated issue than these two retards I think are capable of having.
Tuition going up, all these different things. And so what ends up happening is you have these young guys who they're working every single day. They're working on oil rigs, they're working at Amazon warehouses, maybe they work a 9-to-5 job. They're working every single day, and they're
Hang on, I just got to go back. The guys working on oil rigs are suffering because minimum wage hasn't been increased.
Well, why does tuition go up every year? Because the federal government keeps raising what they will give to students, and the universities respond accordingly by adjusting their rates up. So it's impossible to go get a college degree at a university that isn't a community college without getting student loans.
Warehouses, maybe they work a 9-to-5 job. They're working every single day, and they're still not getting ahead. So then we force young men to make this decision of either you can blame yourself or you can blame others. And
correct me if I'm wrong, but she just blamed Republicans for all of this. Not the young men. You can either blame yourself or someone else. This is why I like watching young people, this age, clearly no real life expectancy. Whoops. They're not Canadian. No real life experience. And it's amazing how they think they know so much.
Yeah,
they know everything because I took a course in the college that totally didn't rip me off.
Yeah, look, college, I learned a very long time ago that what you learn on books and what you learn in real life are often vastly different things. But that's why sophomores are called wise fools.
Yeah.
They know just enough to think they know everything, and they know nothing.
Yeah, this sophomoric is a very good term for what we're watching here.
Yeah, I've seen college students with this exact mentality, the arrogance level, and the confidence with which they spew nonsense.
And if you're a young guy and you're working 8 to 12 hours a day, if you're paying all your bills, you're doing everything you can, and you're still not getting ahead, why do we expect them to think that they're the problem? They're doing everything that they've been told to do their entire life. And so that kind of little nagging.
Okay. Sorry, men, but I have to say, this is not my experience with young men these days, that they're working 8 to 12 hours a day.
Well, maybe 8 to 12 hours a day on Call of Duty, or Fortnite, or I don't know, transgender studies.
Yeah. The entirety of young people these days seem very fucking lazy and getting more and more lazy by the day, and more entitled at the same time.
When you're told that you're special and you deserve special things, you develop a sense of entitlement eventually. And they've been brainwashed by this crap their entire lives. Self-esteem plus communist propaganda is not a combination for success on a national scale. You're looking at like a massive collapse of the workforce because they're so fucking lazy and selfish. And why are they putting this poor black guy on the screen with the stock photo? That's going to haunt this man. He is going to be blamed for stuff.
I just want to point out, this is about the switch of young men to the right. And as she's describing how young men feel, they put an old black guy on the screen.
No, clearly he's like 20 years old and working all those hours. has
Oh,
made him-
that just turned his hair white. I got you. I got you.
yeah. He's seen some shit, man.
Insecure voice in the back of the head. That's where Republicans really push through that ideology and get to young men, is because then they can convince them, well, this is the person whose fault it is. It's not your fault that you can't get ahead in America. It's the immigrants who are coming here. It's their fault because they're taking your high-paying jobs.
Right.
Notice she hasn't. Yeah, if that's what everybody's worried about, is the immigrants taking the high-paying jobs. I know there's the arguments about the H-1B visas, but let's be honest, that is not the majority, by far, of the immigration debate. And they have not once used the term illegal, undocumented, not supposed to be here.
Yeah, the illegals are taking the entry-level jobs.
Yep.
And what can't you get without experience? A high-paying job.
Yep.
How do you get experience without a job? It's the age-old conundrum of how do I do that? Well, you used to do internships or get low-entry jobs and then work your way up. Excuse me. You can't do that anymore because you got to fight with these other people that are coming in and doing the jobs. For nickels, it's disgusting. They are completely skewing this, and it's actually kind of enraging.
Miss, I wanted to bring something new to the table. My unique perspective is literally just repeating the "they took our jobs" bullshit.
Yeah, it's a South Park episode, and it's also propaganda from Hitler, because Hitler said the Jews are the reason you're poor. That's where she's leaning at, is like they're using fascist dialogues.
Right.
Oh,
And
real quick, Logical Mail, thank you. The days of vote Democrat because Orange Man and Republicans bad are over. Get to why am I voting for you? Oh, well, I do believe that they're going to tell us why you should, or how the Democrats should frame this, like she did with abortion. You know, like, support abortion so you don't have to support that bitch. Which, by the way, I if you want to resonate with men, that one might actually do it.
Yeah, I'm very frustrated by these people, but this is typical leftist perspective. They really do not understand why they lost because they're so caught up in their own rhetoric.
If you listen to this, it's amazing to me, because the idea of people having principles, like the abortion part especially, it's not that they actually have principles. It's just that we haven't said it to them right. They agree with us. They have to agree with us. We're this smart. Their entire argument is always, we are just so smart, we can't articulate it enough for you.
Or you're just too stupid to understand it.
Can I just point out that they think they're that smart, yet can't articulate their message in a way that it resonates?
If
That
they
makes
were
you
that
stupid.
Yeah, if they were that smart, they should be able to use their vocabulary to come up with some language that would easily articulate their point, regardless of somebody's education level, in a conversational tone. But no, it's you're just not smart enough. We got to dumb it down. First of all, don't tell people that. Like, you're dumb. We gotta stupid this up for you, because that's not helping win people over to your side. I'm angry.
Ranting Monkey is asked. I haven't asked my audience to do anything. You really are a lefty. You think that everybody's against you?
this hits on something that's so true. It's not that people are intrinsically prejudiced against immigrants. I mean, certainly some people are, but most people are not. The critical mass of Americans that say they care about immigration are not.
See how fucking dishonest they're being?
Yeah.
I am for immigration. If we need to, especially since we seem to be trying to breed ourselves out, we might want to have people with American values in here. So bring in people who want to be Americans, not people who just want America's money. But what we're talking about with immigration, and this is why the whole notion of they don't care about immigration, illegal immigration, just Be honest.
Yeah, you're right. Why would anybody be concerned about a bunch of people illegally coming into the country who are not only unvetted for criminal history, but unvetted for medical issues, including diseases they may bring, like the Zika virus, and are going to be unskilled labor that are driving wages and opportunity down? Why would anyone be concerned about that? Taking up housing, causing gang problems?
Don't forget, also pulling from public resources.
Oh, that's I think a given. Yeah, I mean, they're literally leeching off the system. Education, housing, SNAP benefits, that all could be going to American citizens. We have actual homeless people here in the United States. I know that's shocking, that are citizens, often veterans or people with severe mental illness, who cannot and do not get the help they need because the money's being diverted to bureaucracy and illegal immigrants. And guess what you need to have the funding being shifted to illegal immigrants? More bureaucracy.
It's that Republicans have made immigration an economic issue. They made it in everything.
Immigration is an economic issue.
It's a massive economic issue on all those things I just listed. Your rent is going up because there's fewer places to live because a bunch of illegals are getting a free apartment from the government to live in the same apartment complex as you. How is that not an economic issue, you fucking halfwit?
Owen says, unskilled, but without it, you lose significant parts of your economy. Unskilled doesn't mean unimportant, dumbass. Get a dictionary if you're going to talk. Learn the words you're trying to use.
Well, again, I think Owen lacks some life experience on how things work. Probably never run a business or been in upper management.
Fairly certain this is just another incarnation of that bird-chested dude.
Oh, yeah.
Who got beat up by his punching bag.
Yeah. Well, at least this one's sober, right? I mean, he is being kind of ableist about your reading ability in the chat. So
issue. I mean, they point to immigrants and they say, these are the people that are taking away your livelihood, the safety of your family.
Wait. When we talk about taking away the safety of your family, they say that when somebody's been murdered and raped, you fucking asshole.
Yeah. Also, did they just arrest 100 members of that Venezuelan gang in Colorado, in the last 24 hours?
Hey, how dare you think that there's a It's young men are just lied to by Republicans about how they can get a good life, and then they blame it on the immigrants. There's nothing bad about illegal immigration.
I feel like I'm kind of screaming to myself here, and maybe I'm off base, but this kid is just missing the point entirely of why young men are upset and frustrated. There is a litany of reasons, and they have discounted every single one of them with some bullshit commie nonsense.
Yeah. And this is what I loved about it. Like, she's bringing this whole fresh perspective, and none of this is fresh. Literally none of it.
No. I mean, some of this stuff goes back to the 90s.
But she totally has 98,000 organic subs on Substack.
Uh-huh. Right. How many bridge shares do you have?
So many.
Et cetera. And that's a lie. It's a vicious lie, but it's a lie that you can perhaps understand people believing if they have no other explanations offered to them. And I think it's...
So you think all men are dumb?
Wait, are you suggesting that the Democrats did not blame all the bad stuff that was going on anything other than illegals? Yeah, you didn't have Kamala telling us that it's Republican policies that are making people poor. None of that shit. That's never happened. It's just everybody. The right is saying it's illegals, and the left is just going, we don't fucking know. That's your point here.
That's what it sounds like.
This is what I get at when I talk about they can't get out of their own thinking.
They really can't. These people cannot see past their own agenda.
Yeah.
their own propaganda. It's very disheartening because there's no critical thinking here.
None.
They think they are, but they're doing it all within the same leftist box.
If only we gave them an alternative.
Yeah, if only somebody would come along with a perspective that they just didn't immediately dismiss out of hand as being misogynist or whatever, and actually listen to what people were saying. Oh my God, it's like that might make their heads explode or something.
There's something else about this that's really insightful. It's men are looking for an explanation about why things kind of suck in their lives, right? And so if you look at a lot of the content that men like watch, well, some of it's, this right-wing content. A lot of it's like self-help stuff, right? Like who's the most into self-help? It's men. And what does the self-help say? It's your
That's a year-old video with 308,000 views.
Yeah. The majority of consumers of self-help stuff are women.
True. Look, there is a lot that is, Jordan Peterson has made a living off of it. Andrew Tate has. There are people who make money out of it. Hey, man, this is how you can get better. But the majority of people aren't. There are 330 million Americans, Jack. Even if you give Andrew Tate, say, 5 million, that's still a ridiculous amount of men not watching him.
Yeah. Mostly because they have better taste in content.
True. Thank you, Assassin of the Gray. How about crazy idea? I know Americans be the ones to increase their own birth rate and foreigners stay home. People do not want millions of undocumented. Split this feminist $12 plus tip with Galactus Jack. Thank you so much for that very, very generous double feminist and a tip on top. Thank you, Gray.
Thank you, Assassin.
right? Like who's the most into self-help? It's men. And what does the self-help say? It's your mind. It's your thought.
Yeah, we've debunked that notion. Who's mostly going for self-help? It's women. It's absolutely women. They keep the self-help industry in check. If you're talking about the red pill or the manosphere nonsense, sure, that's mostly men watching that. But the self-help is $1 billion industry, Jack.
Oh, yeah, it's way bigger than the manosphere ever will be.
And has been since Freud, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's been around a long time, and it's not going anywhere because there's lots of insecure women because they hate each other.
Thought process that's the reason why things suck, right? And it's not that people are even always eager to blame someone else. They're just eager to have an explanation, a solution to the.
Those are entirely different things. Eager to blame someone else, to have an explanation. You are taking the explanations men have given you, like illegals coming in and taking jobs and the social network or social safety net that we have and abusing it, raising our taxes. You're saying that's not real. It is an explanation. And sometimes there are people to blame for what's going on.
What? Oh,
no,
you can't do that, you bigot. You'll hurt somebody's fifis.
If somebody takes a sledgehammer and hits you in the shin and you go, dear God, my leg hurts because you hit me in the shin. That is a reasonable thing to say.
Yeah, but restorative justice says you have to immediately forgive them when they're like, oopsie doopsie, sorry.
If, on the other hand, you walk into a wall and then blame somebody for hitting you in the shin, that is unreasonable. It's perfectly reasonable to look at illegal immigration coming in here and destroying our economy and being like, that's what's doing it.
You're telling me millions of people coming in and leeching off the system and driving wages down is somehow damaging our economy?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know why you're so angry.
The suffering they're facing in their lives.
I've had a really in-depth conversation.
I doubt that, seriously.
Well, I mean, we're seeing what they see as an in-depth conversation, and I
don't.
suppose from that perspective, that's probably true, but I've seen commercials with deeper intellectual statements.
Yeah, you've given me no indication you're possibly capable of having an in-depth conversation, but I'll bite. Let's see.
Weeks ago with some other content creators where I was talking about the messaging that the Democratic Party uses so often, and we talk about the diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, and I think where we've kind of fallen into this trap is we have made the party exclusive by trying to make it inclusive, and what I mean by that,
You're right.
But she's going to be right for the wrong reason.
I'm sure she will be. I haven't seen this part. I stopped watching probably about 2 minutes ago when I was watching it on my own.
Oh, man. Hey, real quick. Thank you, Evolved Potato. There are two different types of self-help. There's the small men's self-help and the giant women's self-help.
Mm-hmm.
In the men's self-help, it's all you need to do. And in women's self-help, it's all you deserve. This is a real studied thing. Yes, it is. And that's pretty much what it is, too. Because it's like, with women, it's always these nebulous concepts. And the men's self-help is, here's how I got rich. Or here's what you need to do to get your shit sorted out. Knock it off. That's been my experience with the self-help industry. It's always flowery language for the ladies and nebulous terms like, you need to nourish your soul. And have me time to holistically educate your body. Ugh.
Logical Male, thank you. This is the same argument the left, like Scott Galloway, makes why young men are not getting married. I'm not familiar with Scott, but yeah. I don't know them or what argument you're talking about specifically, but I think we've demonstrated, we're going to keep watching, but I think we've demonstrated that even in this, they're trying to figure out why they didn't resonate with young men. And every bit of it is she literally ignores what the polls of men say because she had a conversation getting banged at a frat house by people who will never tell others they did it. And so that's what all men think. Forget that fucking poll. That 80 or 90% of men are like, yeah, we got to get this illegal immigration under control. No, that's not what they really care about.
Yeah, she went to a place with limited amounts of perspectives instead of the wide-ranging group that was likely polled. If you do a man on the street poll, you're going to get much more varied perspectives than if you go to a college and talk to 100 men. Your audience is very, very different there. Your subjects are. So the men on campus are going to tend to think, at least in the broadest sense, more alike than the man on the street. And the guys on the street are the ones out working and doing stuff. How many people in college actually have jobs? How many of them are going to have not been raised with brainwashing? It's just enraging.
They whine about, how am I expected to work? I go to school 12 hours a week.
Yeah.
that is, every room we walk into, the messaging that we're using is different. Every single one of them. And I think that that's the wrong way to go about it. I think we should have one specific, like one, this is the message we use on this issue, because people are going to interpret that message however they want to interpret it. Everyone has their own form of cultural competency. So, and I think what Trump in particular is the kind
yeah,
it's more nonsense babble, dude.
Well, she could have stopped it. Everybody interprets it their own way, which, I mean, fair enough, but there is a meaning behind what you say.
Yeah, and she just filtered it through the lens of a leftist again. Their own cultural competency, where they inherently bring their nuances from their racial backgrounds and post-traumatic slave disorder and blah, 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 made up bullshit.
Kind of just say the same thing over and over again. And then if they ever change their opinion on it, they just say it with so much confidence that it's hard to convince people that that's not what they meant. So for us, I think it's just, we should...
Wait, hang on.
Republicans are liars is what she just said.
Yeah, I want to get the full.
However they want to interpret it. Everyone has their own form of cultural competency. So, and I think what Trump in particular is they kind of just say the same thing over and over again. And then if they ever change their opinion on it, they just say it with so much confidence that it's hard to convince people that that's not what they meant. So for us, I think.
So if they change their opinion on something, it's hard to tell people that they didn't mean what they say.
Well, Trump's a liar, see, because Orange Man is Devil Hitler. So he'll just backpedal and say that's not what I said. Unlike the Democrats, who are always forthright and honest with us.
Yes, yes.
Oh, they're
Joe
so
Biden,
majestic and holy.
Joe Biden, most cogent he's ever been.
Yeah, I mean, look, how could anyone think that Hillary Clinton, drunky Kamala Harris, or Joe Biden would lie to us?
Let's take her point here about changing minds and saying it confidently. This is the year 2025. So we're about the decade mark where suddenly Democrats decided Donald Trump is the worst thing ever. It actually starts a little earlier than that when Donald Trump grabs Hillary Clinton's talking point about Obama not being born in America.
Yeah, yeah.
But for the majority of the party, they were still fine with him. And 2015 rolls around and he is the most evil thing ever. And if you actually look at what Trump said in the 2015 campaign and then compare it to, say, what Bill Clinton said in the 92 campaign or what Obama himself said in the 2008 campaign, it's not really that different.
Oh, how dare you! Obama is like Jesus to them.
Until Donald Trump comes out and says, we need to do something about the border, let's build a wall. Democrats were almost, especially their presidential candidates, in agreement. We need to do something about the border. Barack gave speeches on this. But as soon as Trump says it, like, how dare you suggest that we need to stop illegal immigration? We need our fruits picked.
Speaking of that, did you see what Raskin said to, or not Raskin, Fat Boy,
Nader?
Yeah, Nader. Did you see what he said today?
No.
That was basically that. Crops will rot on the vine.
Look, Democrats like their slave labor. They always have.
That's true. And they went to a lot of extremes in White Road to try and keep them in line.
To that point, we have work visas.
Oh, hate fact. Migrant workers, seasonal migrant labor? What are you talking about, monkey? That's not a real thing. There is only illegals.
Nobody is coming across the border in a truck dying in a Walmart parking lot going, I just can't wait to pick the fruit for those Americans.
It's just, we should just be saying the same thing about the same issue over and over and over again and let the voter.
You have.
Yeah, that's the entire problem is you've stuck to the same bullshit.
Decide what it means through their own cultural lens instead of telling them specifically what we mean every single time.
Right.
We should be vague to confuse people.
Yeah, to confuse the dumb men so they'll vote for us. That's what I got from that.
Will you hold down the fort for a second?
Sure. All right, Megatron's got to change his oil. So, what's up, chat? How you guys doing? Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Share it out on your social medias. Tell everyone. Tell people you don't know. Hey, have you watched Monkey in the Morning? And when they're like, what the hell is that? How'd you get in my house? Just say, shh, that's not important right now. Slavery is not what made the U.S. wealthy. That's very true. Be surprised living near a 400-mile river. How many spots are on private property? What is mechanization? Oh, well, you see, that's when the robots take over, right? That's how this works. Just got here. Who's the chick that ate the bees? That is a Democratic strategist of some sort. She has a large Substack following that is totally organic. And she is telling us what men really think and how to draw them back to the Democratic Party. Because she's her and Captain Soy Boy, they're not real smart. U.S. caught up with European powers through slavery and mass worker exploitation. Well, that's one of the most ignorant statements I've read in a while. Industrialization and the ability to manufacture things here made us superior to the Europeans on that front.
Sorry about that. Old
no
man
problem.
bladder attack.
That happens. I get it.
The issue with pandering is it looks like you're pandering.
Yeah.
You don't seem genuine whenever you're saying something different in two different rooms with different.
Okay, I hate to give this guy a point here, but he's right. Pandering looks like pandering, and we've talked about it many times, like AOC and Kamala when they get their ghetto accent, when they go like, oh, there's a black person in the audience.
Oh, yeah, and Hillary Clinton with her Southern revival accent and hot sauce in her purse.
Mm-hmm. I never go anywhere without hot sauce in my purse. Like, bitch, we ain't never seen you with a purse.
You carry a purse? Why? You're a multimillionaire. You can hire someone to do that.
Different demographics in them, even if you are being genuine, but sometimes it's just not, right? Like the Kamala Harris's agenda for black men. I don't think that really went anywhere because
okay, that's not necessarily pandering. Don't make me defend Kamala here. Pandering is when Kamala goes in front of a black audience and suddenly has a hood accent and she's never even seen a hood.
Yeah.
Saying we want to do this to help black men is not, I mean, I guess you can say it's pandering, but not in the necessarily inauthentic way, Jack. You could think that there's an actual problem that needs addressed.
Yeah,
and,
like black unemployment.
Yeah, and in this case, I'm not necessarily saying he's wrong. This is one of those anal retentive points that I get on.
Yeah.
Where he's just misusing the wording because it's not necessarily pandering.
I want you to take a look at your pause game, but not to completely detract from your point, which
no, go ahead.
Absolutely accurate. But his face is the post-ejaculate pre-crying stage. Like he is about to cry and thank whoever just let him touch himself over them.
I've never cried during sex, so I'll have to take your word on that. But you are right; it does look like he's both ejaculating and about to cry.
Yeah, he's because he's a soy boy. That's I used to hang out at this pizza place a lot, and I got to know some of the waitresses. And the one waitress was like, "Yeah, I just broke up with my boyfriend. I only slept with him twice." Over the course of the conversation, that comes out. And she's like, "I cried afterwards both times."
What?
I was like, "What? Why?" And she's like, "He was really bad, and he was crying, and it made me cry."
Oh man, if you cry after sex, don't have sex. You're just making all of us look bad.
Yeah, believe me, they will hold that against all future boyfriends. And you know, when the next dude is there, she's gonna be like, "Is he gonna cry too? Because I don't really want to do this."
it just seems so kind of contrived. It seems so like.
Well, and also it was just so and this is the same thing. It's the same thing that Hillary Clinton did, where you'll have people on the right throw out these claims of like, well, what are you doing for this group? And we'll have these long-winded explanations with these details and these figures, and then we can go out and talk about it so we're blue in the face. But at that point, the conversation's already moved on because they didn't actually care about the answer. They cared about how they felt about the answer.
Go ahead. What?
Do the right wing really ask what you're doing for specific groups?
There has been a rise in that because things like the walk away movement. Are they the ones driving that kind of conversation? No, it's the left who drives that. But there is a little bit of a rise of it. I was wrong because I had seen this point, or maybe I jumped up here to get the thumbnail or something. But did you see what she just did?
She just basically accused the right of doing what the left does.
Besides that, no.
Oh,
What I'm getting at, because she says, they say, what are you doing for this group? And we give these long-winded answers with all the facts and figures. And by the time we're done saying it, everybody's moved on already. They're just so intellectual, Jack.
oh, they're so smart. They give the smarty pants answers, but it's too smart. See, the dummies get bored and get distracted by shiny things and pull out their fidget spinners. They're just dumb, and men especially are just dumb. You're just stupid. So condescending and arrogant. The arrogance level of the left is beyond imagination. Their unwillingness to accept they may not know something is their downfall every time.
Dangerous, thank you to the guy in chat. Quote, all labor requires some form of skill is bullshit. The reason unskilled labor is low paid is because with no skill being needed for the job, it can be refilled by anyone. Look, there is some unskilled labor that certain people can't do, but they are few and far between and typically retarded. And I'm not saying that mean, like you're a retard, like seriously mentally incapable. Most of the this is just splitting hair. Unskilled is wrong because if you know how to pick a fruit, then that's a skill. Sure, but it's literally a skill anybody can learn with no training. And it's fucking retarded. Don't argue with stupid points. You're right, but the guy's a retard. What do you expect?
Yeah.
And I do mean that one, like, you're retarded, dude.
The person in chat is just spewing talking points without any basis or ability to back it up. It's just vapid talking points.
Yeah. Anyway.
And so I feel like we just get into these specifics so frequently that frankly, like, people just don't care about.
But we need simple.
We get it. We're too specific.
Yeah, that's why you have to we have to pass the bill before you can read it.
These people think they're so fucking smart.
Oh yeah, they've been raised with a lot of self-esteem.
Hey, I'm sorry.
No, good.
Maybe the reason young men turned away is because by disagreeing with you decide that they're just stupid.
Well, they'll call you stupid for disagreeing with them.
Thank you, Comrade Kitty. Chimps picking fruit equals skilled labor. Right. Sloths can pick fruit. Otters, I mean, it's not never mind.
Opening a clamshell on your tummy is a very limited skill that only otters can do.
Simple ideas that you articulate all the time, right? So, like, for instance, build more housing, right? And somebody says, well, how does that benefit this group? It's like, well, do you live in housing? Like,
yeah, when people say build more housing, people ask, how does that help black people? What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Who says stuff like that?
Nobody. They're having arguments with themselves.
Yeah, they're building some straw men and then attacking them. Some of the things that she talked about a second ago are stuff the left does. What's your source on that? Then you cite the facts and figures. Well, yeah, okay. The left does that shit way more, asking for citations and giving weird examples about, like, well, yeah, but how does that affect the pansexual queer community in Cuba?
Yeah. Nobody is out there saying, hey, housing doesn't help all kinds of people. That's retarded. Fuck, you brought up housing when we were talking about earlier about how the illegals are causing a housing issue.
Yeah. Specifically in low-end neighborhoods, because they're getting Section 8 housing, which is welfare housing for you non-Americans. But that's creating a problem with the poor because they can't get housing then. So they're fighting with these people for jobs and housing and often education too, because these illegals kids are flooding the American education system, particularly in poor neighborhoods where they're being set up in Section 8 housing that should be going to an American.
But how does that affect dyslexic kids, Jack?
Oh, the dyslexic kids can't get special needs teachers because, oh, here I am citing facts and figures and distracting, and I've lost you all. Oh no, you're incapable of thinking on the topic for more than 15 seconds at a time. We're down in the weeds, man. Down in the weeds.
Nah, bruh. Nah, it's don't argue points that people haven't actually made. There's plenty of points that people have actually made. You want to address any of them or
no?
No. Okay.
I'm sorry that we're all dumber than you, college boy.
Some big economic issues that hit everybody. Affordability is one of the most central ones. And that's something that we should champion. And the good news is it helps everyone, right? It's not
Okay. For the record, Kamala tried that. Remember, $25,000 to your first house?
Well, it's more of a rebate.
But that's not how it was presented.
Of course
And
not.
he's talking about the presentation of it. So that should have worked. There should have been no issue there.
But anytime the government offers you something for free, you should immediately be suspicious of what's going on.
just good policy all the time, but it's also like you don't need to have different messages for different groups, in large part because there isn't different policy solutions for different groups. Like targeted policies are usually ones that are kind of watered down, right? They're kind of less, like increasing funding for specific grant programs for certain races of businesses. I mean,
that's not wrong because it's, racist. It's wrong because it waters it down.
Wow. Accidental racism. How very lefty of you.
I absolutely love the left. They are an endless source of humor for me.
It's sad that these people have some kind of influence over others, whether it's a position of power or all these subscribers that they have that they're influencing, and there's people nodding along going, yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's great and all, and we've had that for a long time, but that's not going to fix the big economic inequality and opportunity issues we have in this country. The only thing that could do that is dramatic investments, is a huge expansion of the social support system, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh yeah, that's a given. We can only improve people's lives by more socialism and free shit.
I just want to remind you that this is a guy who left the left because of socialism.
Did he leave the left, or is he just that stupid?
That's a good question.
Because he is spouting some hardcore communist talking points.
The only way
only way you could ever get ahead is by the government giving it to you.
The only way to get ahead is more welfare. Good job, homie.
Yeah. Let's try some more failed economic policies.
Stuff that we should probably focus on talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You look at things like, the healthcare plan, or, homeowners, like first-time loans up to this amount or this percentage. I need Democrats to start talking like, well, what's your healthcare policy? My healthcare policy is healthcare should be good and cheap.
Through the magic of what? Fairy dust?
That's how dumb she thinks men are. If you just say, hey, we're going to make it good and cheap, then we'll all be like, oh, well, that's what I want.
Yeah, no man would possibly be like, well, how's that getting paid for? Because my taxes are going to jump. No, it's just, oh, good and cheap. Oh, okay, yay.
No man is going to want specifics about how things work. We're known for wanting vagueness in our worlds.
Yeah, vagueness and arbitrary platitudes. That's what we really are desiring in our masculine hearts.
Nothing makes a man happier than a woman mad at him and he asks why, and she goes, you know why? Like, oh, thank God, it's so vague. I feel better about myself now.
Yeah. Christ.
Tell me you don't understand men without actually saying it. Oh, God. Anyway,
Like, share, and
Right.
subscribe, people. This is actually painful.
Right, because
And-
Trump
and-
does. Right, because Trump does. He doesn't explain like I'm going to do price transparency, like a price statute, and I'm going to expand the premium tax credit, whatever. Like,
He said he was going to get rid of taxes on tips. He was going to institute possibly 100% tariffs on certain countries. Trump gave a lot of specifics. Just
Yeah.
because you only watch the Sam Cedar going over a tiny little clip doesn't mean that's all that was said.
Yeah, and they actually are trying to pass that no tax on tips or overtime thing right now in that stupid big bill that they're pushing.
Yep.
No,
Republicans never say the word tax credit. Why do we?
Trump literally said he wanted to expand the child tax credit,
To $5,000.
which is actually in the big, beautiful bill also.
Yeah. Also, tax credits are not the end all be all. How about you don't tax us in the first place?
Republicans never talk about tax credits. That is one of the dumbest things that he said this whole thing. And that is not by default, by the way.
Yeah, this is impressive how ignorant of their opposition they actually are.
Republicans never say tax. Oh, dear God.
To some extent, I could see where you would miss that because of selective editing. But Republicans also keep talking about tax reduction. So I would rather a tax reduction than a credit because the credit means I'm still getting taxed.
No. You see, like with the child tax credit, that is a refundable credit. If you reduce taxes, people just have to give the government less money. If you give them a tax credit, especially if you give them a refundable tax credit, they get money back that they didn't pay in.
Yeah, but that's a much smaller percentage of people.
It's not.
That's really depressing. Then
the amount of money that goes out in the child tax credit would probably break your brain.
I don't like that. I'm already angry. We should move away from this topic so I don't have an aneurysm.
Say the word tax credit all the time.
I think it's because like we're still operating in this like fallout of Reagan, Bill Clinton mentality. But the difference is
Reagan was 50 years ago, you stupid bitch.
The Reagan Clinton mentality.
When was Reagan in office? 88 was the last time?
Yeah, he leaves office in January of 89, yeah.
Yeah, give me a fucking break.
I'm stuck on her putting those two men together.
Well, a lot of modern leftists view Clinton as a borderline right-winger on economics.
That most Democrats don't have the charisma that Bill Clinton had. And so instead of leaning on the charisma, they lean on the details.
I don't have charisma, so I'm going to start spewing numbers. What? Have you ever talked to somebody that does like accounting? They're generally not the most exciting people on the planet.
Well, let's just examine this with the most recent election. Kamala Harris told us that she was going to give everybody $25,000 for their first home, right? How many of you guys knew that was only if your family lineage never owned a home? Not just you. Your mom and dad couldn't have owned a home. You know how she got into that specific? Anyone?
Well, it was in the penumbra.
I just don't think it translates the same way. We just come off as a bunch of dorks. Like,
not for the reasons you're thinking, honey.
We just come off like a bunch of dorks. We're just too overly intelligent.
We're just too smart, and we come off like the pocket protector people.
It is so funny. I was just thinking about pocket protectors.
We're of the generation that knew Revenge of the Nerds.
That's what a nerd was. Yeah, they had their pocket. By the way, my dad always wore a pocket protector.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin your shirt if your pen leaks.
He was in the Navy, and you do not want to have to buy a new uniform when your fucking pen leaks.
Absolutely.
And it's just something he carried on the rest of his life. Democrats, I desperately need you to hear me here. You are not as smart as you think. Nobody is looking at you thinking, I just can't understand this intellectual jargon they're talking about. There's nothing intellectual about boys can be girls.
Oh, see, that's where you're wrong, Monkey, because they could come up with some college level words that make it sound all sexy. So, yeah, then they can use circular logic. Like, what is a woman? Anyone who identifies as a woman. Ha!
Yeah.
Suck on that, Rube.
It's just that we're too smart.
Too
Dur, dur, dur.
Too smart. You know what? Dumb people always think they're the smartest one in the room.
Yeah, they often do. But this is something we saw. I mean, it's not just for Miss. I want to say a thing that nobody else. This was said on CNN, for fuck's sake. CNN was out there telling us we just are too smart and we got to dumb it down for the dummies.
Yeah, we covered that when it happened because we were laughing at it.
This is stuff that was literally all said right after the election. But she made it all up herself. She is just such a free thinker. She knows more than the rest of you.
Oh, yeah, it must be nice to be such a free thinker that you sound exactly like everyone else in your group.
I do love that she's turning that I'm smarter than you on the Democrats, because she's so smart that she just understands that how smart they come off is turning people off. And if the other dummies in her party were as smart as she was, they would know that too.
Yeah, well, from what I've seen of a lot of leftists over the years, it's that they all think they're the smartest person in the room. It's that main character syndrome. They all have it. So whenever they're alone, they will badmouth everybody else because they are smarter than them. Just ask them.
That's just the truth. We just come off as a bunch of dorks. Nobody wants to listen to a dork.
I think voters like people they think are smart, but
no one wants to listen to a dork. Explain Elon Musk's popularity.
Right?
That dude is a huge fucking dork. And if you ever see him when he's getting into the weeds on some of the more technical stuff, even I'm like, I don't even fucking know what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah, I gotta tap out. I'm a little below my, below the class of people that are talking right now.
You guys don't come off as dorks. You come off as clowns.
Yeah, clowns and weirdos. Because a lot of what they spew is nonsense.
Yeah. The only good clown is a rodeo clown, and that's because a bull is chasing him.
Yeah, the only good clown is a dead clown.
They don't like people that they don't understand, right? They want to feel like they understand what you're saying, and it's smart.
That is insulting. We want you to feel like you understand us, you silly little dum-dum. Oh, my God.
Kamala had a ridiculously low likability rating, and apparently it's just because she was too smart, Jack.
Yeah, that drunky McDumb shit is too smart for you. Okay. That woman cackled every time. I don't know if she had some kind of social anxiety or something, but she made herself look like a fool whenever she'd start laughing at some nonsense.
Jack, I'm sorry to cut in. AOC is their leading front runner in many polls right now.
The woman that cried at a fence in a parking lot for a photo op?
The woman who's literally said their problem is that they're worried about being factually accurate instead of morally correct.
Yeah, party of geniuses here. The people that attach themselves to failed ideas like communism, which has never ever worked because it can't. Because it doesn't factor in human emotions or greed, and they're calling us stupid. You're functioning or trying to implement a failed policy that was outdated in the time that it was instituted. I'm so angry right now. You have no idea.
I'm getting that. AOC once told us the world was going to end in 12 years because she couldn't read a report that just said that that's the tipping point. To her, the entire world was going to end. And she had to come out and be like, no, I totally understood it. And when I said that, I meant that the world would still go on for a long, long time after that. But can you turn off the mic, please?
Yeah, how many times have they told us that the world's going to end? Because remember, Al Gore said
tons.
Manhattan would be underwater in, 2015?
The first time that I've been able to find when they were giving us a date for when the world was going to end was going to be 89.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they moved it to 2005, I think is the next jump, and then 2015, and now it's 2032.
Yeah, because we should be, was it Peter Jennings said we should all be fighting each other for the canned food on the shelves in like 2015 or something.
Don't worry, they're smarter than us, Jack.
Yeah, intellectual powerhouses.
Are not just like, I don't understand what they're saying, therefore they're smart, right? And they also like simple solutions. Right? Like we don't need to talk about each detail of each healthcare policy. We can just say, like you said, what we're gonna do, right? And you can tell people the basic.
We're gonna make it good and cheap.
Yeah, we're not gonna tell you how we're gonna do anything or how much it's gonna cost you, because you won't understand it with your little tiny man brain. Yeah, you dumb Republicans, you're so stupid. We got to make it simple and put little photographs up and be like, this for you.
Just a reminder that this is directed at how they can win back young men. Young men, they think you're retarded.
Yep. Well, those men, they're not women, Monkey. They can't grasp higher levels like women can.
I will say this, if the men that she's talking to are on college campuses, I understand why she thinks they're retarded. It's because they're being trained to be.
Yeah, they're either falling in line with the cult or they're faking it so they could get their degree and get the hell out of there.
Details about how you're going to do it. But you don't need to really get in the weeds. And you also don't need to talk about 20 things at once. I think that's part of the issue with the Democratic coalition. The Republican coalition is like, we want border security, tax cuts, whatever. There's like 5 things that they actually care about. And
the Democratic coalition cares about border security? Bruh, what Democratic Party are you thinking of?
One from like early Obama era, maybe?
They dropped all of that shit in 2015.
Probably before that, but it just quietly.
Oh, okay. Publicly.
Yeah, publicly. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's fair. That is definitely fair. Rodline, thank you. Smarts, okay. It's the elite arrogance that's annoying. They really do just believe they are way smarter than everybody. If you don't agree with them, you just don't understand them. More proof that it's just a gynocentric thing.
The arrogance level really, really bothers me. That is dangerous. That is how you get policies where you're like, all right, we need to take the farmland away from the farmers and give it to the intellectuals. And then you have a mass starvation. This is exactly what happened under Mao. Oh, we could do it better than that. We're smarter than those dumb peasants. And so what they do, they took all the farmers away and they gave the land to the intellectuals who didn't know what to do when they got there because they were full of shit, but they thought they knew what to do. And then everybody started dying.
I stepped away for a second. Who thought they were smart? No one. This person thinks that everybody else just thought that the left was too smart.
Real quick, thank you, Evolved Potato. Remember, Al Gore is a literal oil baron. That's true. He's heavily invested in oil, but he did those films where every prediction was wrong, and he's so smart. Yeah, they still think he's an intellectual giant.
They keep bringing him out. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll reference him all the time and how smart he was and how he saw the catastrophe ahead of everybody else. But yeah, he's got a lot of investments in oil, and his electric bill, at one point, his electric bill leaked, and they were pointing out that he was basically keeping the lights in his house on all the time.
Wait,
and he didn't have solar panels.
And it's worse than that because this is his house in Tennessee where he never was.
Yeah.
because he spent almost all of his time in his DC apartment. I mean, there were people who made jokes about how he wasn't really from Tennessee. He was from DC. He kept his mansion in Tennessee lit up constantly when he wasn't there.
Yeah, and it's an actual mansion. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a nice house.
Rocco says, it's weird when Kamala Harris visits your housing project. She ain't never go no housing project. Closest she got was a gas station near a ghetto.
Yeah, and they were just there to make a commercial about
Yep.
how much she likes Doritos.
And then there's minor things. And for the Democrats, it's like,
Don't talk about minor things with Democrats because that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, they do like the little kids, don't they?
there's like 5 things that they actually care about. And then there's minor things. And for the Democrats, it's like, well, we're really diverse, actually. We want a lot of different things, but we need to learn to prioritize because not every.
Wanting a lot of different things doesn't make you diverse, dummy. It makes you entitled or greedy. That's another good word for it.
Authoritarian.
We have a diversity of things we demand you give us, I suppose.
Yeah, we want to seize power from all these sectors.
He's not even using diversity the way the left uses diversity. Oh, God.
I don't like either of
Issue.
these people.
Me neither.
Deserves to be brought into the spotlight just for any reason. Whenever you go to a door as a Democrat and you knock on the door to talk to a voter about the things that your party supports, they should already know what those things are. If they don't, that means that you're not doing a good job messaging. If you go to...
Or it means that there are people who only pay attention, like most people, during an election cycle, specifically a presidential election cycle.
Yeah, or they just don't care about that topic. One thing I don't care about, recycling programs. If you come to my door and ask me about recycling, after I tell you to get off my property, I'm going to shut the door in your face. You know why? Because I don't give a shit about recycling programs.
You ask them, what does Trump support? They're going to be able to list at least 2 things, probably.
And probably incorrectly because they got their information from the news, which is run by your side, homie.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll say he's for a border wall. And why would they say that? It's not because the Republicans messaged that well. It's because the entirety of the left, which includes the media, got all pissy in 2015 and hasn't shut up about it since.
They can't list anything for Kamala Harris.
She likes Venn diagrams.
She loves electric school buses.
Vodka recipes.
Pretending she's going to give people $25,000 for their home.
Yeah.
The notion that the Democratic message just didn't get out there is retarded.
Yeah, they have pretty much full control of the media.
Her message was out there all over the place. Oh, this is annoying.
$30,000 home buyer tax credit. What?
It was $25,000. You don't even fucking know it, you dumbass. I mean, I guess if they're not even messaging to their own side well enough for them to get their talking points, he has a point here.
I guess. I mean, it's sad that we could probably come up with. I bet if we sat down and raced him on listing Democrat talking points, we would have more of them a lot faster too.
Oh, yeah. How do you? He fucked up his own talking point. All right.
Whatever. No, there's 0% chance they could list anything because there's just so many ideas and they're all so contrived.
Yeah, that was Kamala's problem. She just had too many ideas, Jack.
Yeah, that's it.
She was a fountain of ideas.
She was just like, oh, she's just too smart. She'll try and implement all this stuff and get none of it done. Oh my God, she's just too wise. We can't risk taking her out of the private sector.
We understood them and rejected them in November. Katie. No, see, honey, you just didn't understand. The mental giant that is Kamala Harris. She was so intelligent, it sounded like she would use word salad. And if we were smarter, we would have understood what she was trying to say. She was so smart that when she goes on 60 Minutes, she would go to answer a question and 60 Minutes would have to cut off her answer and talk over it to explain it to us dummies what she was saying.
Yeah, they had to interpret it for her. Think of her like the Juggernaut from the X-Men, right?
Yes.
She has so many ideas, she could just barrel through brick walls. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. Oh, this is so confusing. There's so much happening.
What's this idiot's name? Hang on, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, she's just an intellectual juggernaut. That's it. She's just barreling through with all these notions and ideas. That's the Democrat Party. They're just so powerful in their brains. Their brain box has too much gray matter.
Micah, if by chance you see this, I am extending an invitation to you to come on this show and you can explain to me the intellectual ideas that the Democrats had and how many of these ideas there were. And we'll see if I know them and can articulate them better than you can.
Also, I'd like to point out that when he said the Republicans only have like 2 ideas, and he said Kamala had too many, he could only name one, and he named it wrong. He said 30 grand. And he's like, so on and so on. It just, he couldn't even name anything else, any other policy she had.
Yeah. I'll have you on the show and we could discuss all these deep intellectual. Don't worry, my audience is smart. They'll get it. We can have these deep intellectual discussions you think the Democrats have. I would love to hear them.
Well, no, that's not true. They'll say that she supports sex changes for transgender illegal aliens in prison.
Only because she's on tape doing that.
Yeah, that is one of the things she actually said she was for. So
why are you laughing about that?
I don't think they realize that's actually true.
It's literally on video. Oh my God. She was showed it and she had to go, one of her really deep answers.
Yeah, it was coded so that it's like a dog whistle, but for super smart people. You need a decoder ring because you're not the intellectual powerhouse these are.
And they both think that's funny as that's what people think about Kamala. Okay, you guys are trying to make the argument that people don't know Kamala, that just didn't get her. And your example of that is something she literally did.
Yeah.
All right.
How dare you speak ill of our border czar?
God bless.
A center of her platform, yes.
It was a central part of her platform. Yeah, I mean, it's just the same thing over and over again. It's kind of like, guys, what are we doing here? I think of it as
that nothing you just said was an argument.
No,
come on, guys, what are we doing here? That's what stupid people say when they don't have any answer.
Yeah,
and
or they cackle.
I'm not going to make fun of you for your weight, but I am going to make fun of you because you are fucking stupid.
I worry that there is an entire generation like this that think they are so much smarter than everybody else. We are going to lose a lot of people's skilled knowledge because they can't pass it down to somebody that thinks they're smarter than them. If you walk around thinking that you know everything and you're smarter than everybody around you, you're not going to listen when somebody tries to explain something to you.
And Olivia, you can come on too, and you can tell me about all these deep things you guys are so smart on. I would love to have that conversation.
I don't want to make either of these clowns cry, dude. It's just sad. Real quick, thank you, Evolved Potato. Fun fact, Kamala was doing a talk about the housing crisis the next city over from me. Oh, wow. Tickets were $1,000 each.
Yep.
I'm sure the housing crisis has nothing to do with our population increasing by 40%, over 40% in the last 25 years from foreigners coming here. No, why would that affect it? It just build more. It's just, yeah, you You just don't understand the nuance there. $1,000? Fuck that. I feel bad
America-
for
or-
Australia. They're getting conquered like the Brits.
It's kind of like, guys, what are we doing here? I think of it as America, or voters in general, when they're deciding who they want to vote for, they want a mom and they want a dad.
No.
That's a Democrat mentality right there. They want a mommy and a daddy.
Yes. And how many times have we said that? And at least she's being honest about it, because what she's saying, I think people want this. It's what she wants.
Yeah. Well,
I
she's
need my
a
mommy and
trained
daddy.
leftist, so.
I've said this before. If you are looking to the government to be your mom or dad, you're doing it wrong.
She has hit like all the stereotypes. Is she going to talk about prom next?
Vampire prom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Not to be homophobic, because there can be, same-sex parents here. They want a mom and a dad.
I'm surprised they didn't start with a land acknowledgement, because they just.
Not to be homophobic, because I said that people want a mommy and a daddy, and I got to make sure everybody knows I'm one of those good person who understands adoption is a thing. Mighty Balzac, thank you. The center of her platform needs reinforcement.
Wow.
They want someone who, in times of uncertainty, can bring them comfort and can make them feel like there's someone there for them.
I do not want to feel like in times of need, my government is there for me.
That's the last thing I want, is the government being like, we're here for you, buddy.
We're here to help.
Yeah, we're for the government, and we're here to help. That quote is so haunting. And as a man, a straight man, who's a little older than these retards, I don't want to feel like somebody has your back and loves you. No, look, that's why you get married. So you have a partner. I don't want the government to take that role. That's terrifying. What is she talking about? These people have no concept of what they're talking about. This is some commie bullshit.
It's because it's what they want. If something's going bad, she wants her government to come give her a big old hug.
Yeah, and a big old handout.
Since she wants that, she thinks that's what everybody wants.
But
and there can be no other reality out there, because remember, she's even smarter than the elite Democrats who are smart.
Oh, of course. But that is such a communistic and quite honestly smooth brain child way of looking at the world. Children want their mom and dad to be there to catch them. Grown adult men want to make it on their own. They want to go out and forge their path and make a name for themselves, or be secure in their job and create things and say, I did that. I made that thing. I achieved this. They don't want to be like, well, I can always go home to mommy and daddy. That is a communist bullshit attitude. That is what is wrong with young people today, is this need for fallbacks and hugsies. Get out of your goddamn diapers, you babies.
Also want someone who's going to be stern, who's going to have their back, and who's going to say the tough things that need to be said.
Like Medicare is running out of money?
Like we can't have millions of people parasitically leeching off our system without it collapsing. The tough things that need to be said that they won't talk about.
I do want to know, and maybe she gets into it in the last 40 seconds here. What do you think the government needs to tell us that's a tough thing to hear? I'm very curious about that, Jack.
I am too, because you know what? When you treat the government like your parent, they tend to act like your parent. And do you know what your parents do? They keep harsh truths from you as a child. That you don't. They try to shelter you a little bit from the evils of the world, don't they? That they let you believe in fantasies like, spoiler alert, the Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, because those are comforting to children. They're comforting falsehoods that we help we let kids have imaginary friends, that sort of thing. We try and keep kids safe from the darker aspects of the world. Do you want your government doing that to you? Like, it's okay. He can't handle the truth. We just won't tell him about it. We won't tell him about the recession. We won't tell him about the side effects of this. We won't tell him about that little operation we're running over here, like Fast and Furious. It's safer that way. Let us insulate you. Am I wrong on that?
No.
I don't have kids, so I don't really know how this works.
When you're talking about little kids, yes, but as they get older, you bring them into reality. So a good parent will have harsh truths, especially when you're dealing with like teenagers.
Yeah, but look at how childlike these people are responding to situations.
Oh, no. What she's talking about here is that's why I'm curious what she thinks a harsh truth is. Because a harsh truth would be telling your 14-year-old son you're not a girl.
Yeah,
and
or
I guarantee you she's not in favor of something like that. Let me get this real fast. This is a while ago. Thank you, Dangerous. What the fuck? This is not and should not ever be the role of government, even if the government tried to do that. Can you imagine how bad a government department of fixing the SADS would be? I mean, we kind of the reason that it's been brought up here before is because so much of U.S. policy is based on the government taking care of us. Like, we got to have the Medicaid and the Medicare and the Social Security and the welfare and the food stamps. That is this providing your food and your shelter and your medical care. That's your mommy and daddy's job.
Yeah.
Until you become an adult, and then it's your job.
Yeah,
so I get what you're saying, because she's like, they want to comfort you. Yeah, but I mean, we still kind of do that, even if we don't have the department to fix SADS. I would actually kind of support that just for the humor of it.
Yeah, it'd have to be run by somebody that's cutting the budget.
Yes,
because it makes the politicians the SADS. But no, what she's describing is the kind of nurturing you give to kids that aren't old enough to enter the workforce yet. You know, like little kids.
I hear you, but as we've talked about many times, that is up to like 26 these days.
I know, and it's terrifying because that's the intellectual stunting we are seeing on display right here in this video.
I'm sorry.
These are smooth brains operating at like an 8-year-old level.
Assassin said, "Department of Fixing the SADS equals made."
Yeah. I think Canada beat us to that one.
Yeah, for those who don't understand the joke there, MAID is the acronym for the department of the Canadian government that helps with suicide. Anyway.
And I feel like we try to offer voters comfort, but instead of coming across as like mom or dad, we kind of come across as like the aunt who you kind of don't like her, but she gets you really good Christmas presents. So like every once in a while you'll go visit. Like I feel
that is very specific.
That is weirdly specific. Drunk wine aunt who buys you loot. Kind of a weird analogy to run with here. And the Democrat Party does act like parents to their constituents because they treat them all like toddlers.
Yeah. It's exactly what the Democrats do. And I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
I don't know. I guess she doesn't have enough mommy and daddy telling her what to do in her life.
You're upset that you guys lost and you're desperate for any kind of reason for it. And so you've come up with people are stupid and the Democrats don't say things right.
And they need to infantilize the voters more.
I feel like that's kind of how we come across as like, well, I don't really trust the Democrats and I don't really like them that much, but the Affordable Care Act was cool.
Then what Republican? Other than Mitt Romney?
The Affordable Care Act was in effect for like 5 years before it finally got to 50% of people liking it. And even then, it's just because folks have become familiar with it and they're relying on it now. So they're like, I guess it's okay. It's like the Canadian or British healthcare system. People are like, yeah, we like it. but if you talk to them, they bitch about it constantly.
Yeah, because it's awful. They're just tolerating it now because they're used to it.
Yeah. So, like, if they gave us the ACA, and everybody really liked that. It was forced on people.
I don't think
they're
anybody
being
likes
told. I'm sorry, and they're being told if it goes away, then they'll have no health care and they're going to die in the street.
Yeah. I don't think anybody likes their $5,000 deductible. That's dumb. Real quick though, thank you, Keldrick. I don't want it to be a party to this weirdo's incest kink. Yeah, there definitely is some undertones there, aren't there? Of course, in the left, you do see a lot of people with weird sexual proclivities, like a lot of the sex offender registry that comprises Antifa.
And like that's kind of the extent of it. Is how people feel about us most of the time.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the family theory of partisan politics in the United States.
And that's the end of the clip that was uploaded, and the end of what we're going to watch on this.
I'm glad it's over. I have a headache now.
I kind of want to read her Substack. I'm not going to pay for it because I'm not a Soros backed person. But if this is her idea of, I'm just saying things that nobody else will say. I wanted to bring a different perspective. She doesn't understand what different perspective means, because there was literally nothing said in there that hasn't been said even recently, Jack.
Yeah.
We're just too smart. We're just too smart. You don't understand. We're too smart.
We're too intellectual for the dummy dumbs in Rust Belt country.
Yeah.
You right wingers, you men, you're just stupid. You're just stupid broken women.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you for the donations. You guys are fucking awesome. Jack, anything you want to show?
Probably Motrin at this point. I'll throw a link in the chat if I can get this to load properly.
You are much angrier about that than I expected you to be.
Yeah, well, I have low tolerance for arrogance and stupid together.
Huh.
And that was on full display here. So yeah, this really did anger me quite a bit.
See, that's what we're doing, because it just made me laugh.
Well, it's funny.
I love arrogant, stupid people. It's one of the funniest things you can run into.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that 90% of the time, but these people are claiming to know how we think, and I find that a little insulting.
Again, it's possible to know what we think without being us. I mean,
yeah, but they were so far off base.
She could read a poll.
She could read it. She couldn't interpret it worth a shit.
That was my favorite part of it, and what made me decide we were going to talk about it was when she literally puts up what men think and then immediately discounts it. Like, that's not what they actually think. I was like, oh my dear God, you are comedy gold, lady.
Yeah. Oh man, Dangerous really nailed a good analogy here. Reminds him of when Klinsky flew over the farmland and said, "Why does the ground look like that?"
Oh yeah.
Because he doesn't understand how plots were done and farming is done. That the just insane narcissism that is in the opposition is staggering, and it's dangerous.
All right. Again, no long outro tonight, guys. Thanks, Jack. A pleasure as always.
Always glad to be here. Thanks for the donations, everybody. You guys are awesome.
Everybody, take care of yourselves. We love you. We'll see you on the next one. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
I don't want to sing for you anymore, bastards.